the thing that we really, 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 really want you to hear. You cannot train yourself into the vortex from anywhere outside the vortex. In other words, if we were to give you processes all day to try to help you to get into the vortex, it would be less effective than if life just takes you in. Jerry and Esther were driving across from Texas the last couple of days. Coming across New Mexico, there is this most beautiful place. It is called the Texas Canyon. It's in New Mexico. And it's not a canyon. But just the same, it is the most beautiful, 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 beautiful place. And as they drove and saw and breathed and felt, they could not remain outside the vortex. The condition of their moment took them in as they beheld the beauty and the well-being of their planet. Right in the vortex. Now, we don't want you running around looking for things that drag you in. There are plenty of them. But when you find yourself in there, milk it. Practice the vibration of it. Talk about how it feels. Remind yourself this is who you are. Remind yourself that this is the way you're supposed to feel. Remind yourself of the beauty of your planet. Remind yourself of the stability of your planet. Pick up a deck of well-being cards or beautiful pictures of something. In other words, that's the time to stay in the vortex. Practice the inside the vortex vibration. That will serve you far better than anything from outside the vortex you try to do to get in. And there are so many things that life shows you in every day that take you into the vortex. So when you find yourself in there, or when you even think you're in there and aren't sure, milk it. Milk it. Every time you have a moment and you are aware that you just felt a little relief and you're just feeling a little extra lift or high, a little better feeling, stop in that moment and acknowledge, what is it about this that feels so good? Jerry and Esther will sit in a restaurant that feels particularly good and they will play the game. Why do we like being here right now so much? What is it about this place that feels so good? Is it the lighting? Is it the food? Is it the fragrance in the air? Was it our server? Is it being with each other? No, it can't be that. We're always with each other. Must be something else. What is it? What is it? What is it that feels so good about this moment? What is it? And as they reach for it and identify more and more, what they do, they practice the vibration of being in the vortex longer. And this is the thing that we want you to understand. The more you practice it, the easier it is to be there. Don't you know people who are so optimistic that when you try to give them bad news, it just bounces off of them? Children are that way. A little girl in a restaurant, Jerry and Esther were sitting next to them, and the little girl was so taken by Esther. She could hear Esther's voice, so she was standing up in her booth, looking over her booth into the booth where Jerry and Esther were, and all she wanted to do was to see Esther. And Esther began winking at her and doing silly things with her silverware. She was eating with her spoon upside down and putting her napkin over her head. In other words, Esther was not helping the cause at all. Esther was attracting this little girl. And then Esther heard her father scolding her. And her father said, "Turn around and sit down now." And the little girl said, "No." And her father said, "Turn around and sit down now." And the little girl said, "No." And Esther's thinking, please turn around and sit down. Please turn around and sit down. But her father grabbed her by the ankles and dragged her across the booth. And then it was no longer a pretty sight over there. Esther felt a little bad about having temporarily dragged her into the vortex when her father clearly likes her better outside of the vortex, behaving herself. When you find yourself in the vortex, milk it with everything that you've got until you have such a vibration going on from inside the vortex that no one and nothing that is reverberating out there with a different frequency has any access to you. And what you will begin to discover is those old troublesome thoughts that used to make their way into your consciousness frequently, they're gone. Old grudges lift off of you. You stop rendezvousing with ornery people. You stop rendezvousing with people in traffic that are inconsiderate. In other words, when you train yourself into a vibration of well-being, when you become solution-directed rather than problem-directed, when you train yourself inside the vortex, everything in your world will shift because you are the point of attraction. So we'll leave it here. We just want you to realize that the larger part of you exists. And the larger part of you, we have not said this before, but we want you to hear it now. If we were standing in your physical shoes, the soul energy, source energy, larger part of us would be our point of attraction. In other words, we would do anything and everything that we could do to deactivate any vibration that would hold us apart from our prosperity, from our well-being, from our clarity, from who we really are, from our love, from our efficiency, from our effectiveness, from our love of life, from our zest for living. As you begin thinking vibrationally and feeling vibrationally, which means feeling emotionally, and tuning yourselves by virtue of your emotions more into compliance or alliance or alignment or resonance with who you really are, you're going to just have the most wonderful physical experience, because to be in a physical body and in sync with that source energy makes every conscious moment indescribably delicious. Mm-hmm. In other words, inside the vortex, there's no shortage consciousness. Here's another way of looking at it. As you stand in your body in this time-space reality, and you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want, you're putting things in this vortex, this vibrational reality, that you may live out over many hundreds of lifetimes. Here's an easier way for you to hear it. This generation, as you are living today, through your awareness of what's going on your planet, are actually putting requests into your vibrational reality that Source is considering present tense. And now the present tense energies that are being born into your environment are coming with that knowing, with that expectation, with that belief. Talk about a generation gap. So it is accurate to say that what you are living now is setting the stage for future manifestations. But here's where the line is blurring, and we love that it's blurring for you in such a fantastic way. We call this vibrational reality present tense. Humans usually don't want to do that. They don't want to call anything present tense that hasn't manifested in a way that everybody can see it. That's what slows your science down so much. Not only does everybody have to see it, but everybody has to see it exactly the same way before they will call it factual, evidential reality, you see. And that slows you way, way down, because now you have to wait for all those people that aren't even interested in that to give their attention to it, you see. But if you will accept that when you put it into this vortex of creation and Source, the energy that creates worlds, including your inner being and all that you are, is already seeded as present tense. If you can train yourself into the seeing it as present tense by being willing to feel it and not need to see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. Feeling it's enough. Like the woman who has arthritis in her hips, she says, Abraham, how can I have positive thoughts when I'm in so much pain? And we said, you can be in pain and feel fear, or you can be in pain and feel hope. And the vibrational difference between fear and hope is the difference between recovery or not. So this is sort of the same thing that we're talking about. Even though it hasn't manifested, if you can feel it, if you can know it, if you can feel it and know it vibrationally and emotionally, it has to manifest for you. It has to, and it will. We just want it not to matter whether it manifests or not, because feeling it is what you're reaching for anyway. And that's when you begin to blur the lines. In other words, in your hope or belief in a peaceful world, you no longer have to deal with war, because you have found what war caused you to ask for. And as you focus there and find it and find the relief of it and practice the relief of it, law of attraction can only deliver you to the peaceful world that you have conjured, you see. But someone who is still warring is going to find a war-filled world, and they're going to call you delusional. And you're going to have to be able to let them call you delusional without it jerking you out of the vortex. You're going to have to just know they just don't understand. They don't know. They don't see the big picture. They're still dealing in realities and in evidence and in facts. And I'm dealing in vibrational frequencies and who I really am. I've blurred the line. That vortex keeps moving on you. It keeps moving to a pure and pure and pure place. That's why we say, as life causes you to know what you don't want, which causes you to ask for what you do want, every time you do that, that vortex spins in a stronger way and attracts in a stronger way. And if you don't make an effort to keep up with it, there's going to eventually be a separation between who you have become and who you're letting yourself be that you cannot stand. That's really what is at the basis of the death experience. When life causes you to be this and you don't go, then this calls you in such a powerful way that from wherever you are, you go. Do you understand that you existed before this body?
Yes.
And do you understand that even while you're in this body, the non-physical part of you exists? And do you get it, that there is a vibrational relationship between the two, and that's what your emotions are telling you? And the better you feel, the more in this moment in alignment you are with who you really are, and the worse you feel, the more out of alignment. Well, as you get that, you know everything that you need to know, because you now know that there is a you that is expanding, and if you're going to feel good, you got to keep up. You got to keep up. Keep up with what? Keep up with the expansion. What does that mean? Keep up with the loving, positive end of every vibrational wave. I know what I don't want. The source within me knows what I do want and holds that ground for me. And if I step away from it, I'm going to feel less good. So what happens is, the longer you live and the more you put things into this vortex, the more you cannot bear it when you step away from who you have become. That's really what it means. Esther's thinking that maybe Abraham should write a little disclaimer on that thing that you sign when you come in that says, oh yeah, we meant to tell you you can't go back. Because you know too much. You know too much. Once you know who you really are and you don't keep up to speed with who you really are, it's more painful than it was before you knew who you really are. Here's a distinction that will really help you. From outside the vortex, what's in the vortex looks like future tense, because when you're outside the vortex and you're counting on manifestations as evidence of how you're doing creationally, then when you look to the vortex, you're looking forward in the sense that it hasn't manifested yet. So you're in the future, you're looking forward to in the future it manifesting. But if you are inside the vortex, looking at the same situation, where you, in present tense, in real terms, right now where all of your power is, you're feeling the emotional alignment that indicates that you're a vibrational match to these things that you're asking for. Now it's not future tense, it's present tense. I am allowing myself right now in this good feeling to be all that I have become. And it's only the looking back for the manifestational evidence for the purpose of proving it to the others that trips you up, you see. And that's sort of where you started earlier with us today, that others see you as sort of way out there. And we say people not in the vortex always see people who are in the vortex as wackos. Because they want you to be real. They want you to face reality. And they don't take it well when you say, I don't want to face reality. I want to face vibrational reality. Oh man, you've really gone off the deep end. I'm facing vibrational reality. Well, you need to face reality. You need to get your head out of the clouds and come back and face reality. And you want to say, reality is old news. Even what's manifested right now, it's old news. It's old news. It's past tense. The money in my bank account right now is past tense. My physical bodily conditions right now are past tense. They're past tense because there is a vibrational reality that's new and vivid and current, and it's who I really am, and it's based on that all of my emotions are, you see. Are you getting this? Isn't it wonderful to know that when you look into your bank account and you feel discouraged, that you're not discouraged because you don't have enough money in your bank account. You're feeling discouraged because you're looking at your subject of prosperity in a bogus way. in comparison with what the source within you knows is vibrationally in your bank account. And if you could feel that discouragement and understand that it is that focus and therefore that subsequent discouragement that is holding you back, and you could reach for the feeling of abundance that the source within you knows, your money situation would turn around in a day.